Welcome to the MontCAS Test Security and Data Integrity video on Local Monitoring, Part 1. The purpose of this video is to provide the viewer with examples of desk and site monitoring from different school perspectives, including the building coordinator role. This video will explore these objectives so the viewer can complete this training with the following understandings. The OPI has many state-level monitoring activities that we will explore more deeply in the next video of this series. However, MontCAS assessments are only possible with this team: OPI staff or state users, system authorized representative, system test coordinator, building coordinator, test administrator, technology coordinator. As a critical partner in the system of assessments, we require all roles to play a part to support the overall integrity of the system. Local monitoring is just one way to support. Best practices suggest each stakeholder knows their roles and duties, and that everyone plays a role in monitoring throughout the testing cycle. Constant monitoring confirms and clarifies these expectations for all. These responsibilities must be taken seriously, as Montana's accountability system, accreditation, and other programs rely heavily on the accuracy of these assessments. For this video example, we will primarily wear the building coordinator hat. However, we will offer tips for the other roles. The building coordinator role is typically a licensed, non-instructional person, such as a principal, vice principal, counselor, or other staff members. It is highly recommended this role is reserved for people with non-instructional or limited instructional duties, so they can coordinate and monitor testing activities in the school. This example assumes all of the elements of prevention in PDIR have already taken place. Just like PDIR, the testing cycle has phases: before, during, and after assessments. In order for the assessments to yield reliable and valid data on student achievement for accountability purposes, we need certain elements of this system to happen at district intervals. 1. Identify goals. With the BC hat on, this would be ensuring the following: build an assessment team. Who are they? What staff will be expected to administer tests, handle materials, etc.? Do staff know their role and responsibility? Are instructions and expectations clear? Are they familiar or rehearsed? 2. Adhere to windows. To start our process, the OPI expects school systems to adhere to the testing windows. With the BC hat on, this would be ensuring the following: school has met all data reporting deadlines. Staff have completed all required trainings. Staff have planned and prepared for activities in advance. Staff have practiced the roles and responsibilities. Staff have performed quality assurance checks. The first two steps are examples of prevention. As an example of performed quality assurance check, here is a demo district from the Smarter Balanced Tide system with demo student data to illustrate student demographics. As the BC, have your staff verify the accuracy of these student data, including the test setting and tools information, which defines the way in which the student will interact with and be supported as a test taker with accommodations or accessibility needs. Let's elaborate on that test settings and tools example a little more deeply. This is an important point, as the MontCAS 2019 data showed a total of 198 testing incidents, of which 55% or 110 were the results of test administrators, and of those 24% were misadministrations, and 12% were misadministrations specific to accommodations. There are 3 accessibility features in the Smarter Balanced Assessment, that is, universal tools, designated supports, accommodations. Prior to any testing for students that require supports of any kind, we highly encourage students to try them out first. In some cases, tools could have barriers to students. The first step is practicing or trying out these tools is to define the purpose. What's the purpose? Sample items, public, parents, teachers, students, samples. These are meant to provide exposure to content expectations or to showcase what it is like. Practice test includes items and performance tasks for each grade level to provide a sample of the item types included in the test. Training tests are intended for TAs and students to become familiar with the format and functionality of the online test. Interims. The OPI recommends using the interims as the best way to test out the accommodations and supports before the operational testing because this system is linked to the student directly, so the tools are customized based on their individual need and data from the experience will be made available in a timely manner for educators to evaluate the effectiveness of the supports and or additional needs for the child. Here is an example of before test monitoring of the testing location and schedule to ensure a successful administration. School space. First, has a location that minimizes distractions and disruptions for students been selected as the testing location? If so, is the room conducive to a proper test environment, free from distractions? Has a notice been placed, such as do not disturb signs, on doors where testing is occurring? Are instructional aids covered or removed? Is the location familiar to the classroom environment and familiar to students? Does the test administrator remain in the room at all times and monitor students throughout testing in an unobtrusive fashion? Technology recommendations. Did you ensure the TA workstations were set up? Did you ensure the student workstations were set up? Did you ensure the network was configured with no interruptions are planned during the testing window? Did you ensure to configure assistive technologies and install the secure browser? Does your team know how to troubleshoot technical problems during the test? Average state testing times. Per Montana Code annotated, students in grade 4 through 12 are required to have a minimum of 1,080 hours of instruction. In the instance of state-required testing, the average grade 5 student is estimated to spend 6 to 8 hours taking the Smarter Balanced Assessment. In other words, the average child will spend less than 1% of instructional time on the state assessments. All other assessments administered to students are determined at the school district and building level. Multiple day sequencing recommendation. All students participating in the Smarter Balanced Assessments will receive a CAT and a PT in both ELA and math. The session sequencing and schedule recommendations are estimates based on times from the 2019 test administration. We recommend students take the CAT and PT items on separate days to minimize the effect of student fatigue. Districts may elect different session and sequence orders based on their individualized needs. However, we recommend the following sequence that is spread out over multiple days as needed. OPI schedule recommendations. When developing a testing schedule, use estimated testing times to calculate the number of days and time needed to complete the assessment in each content area and grade. These estimates do not account for any time needed to start computers, load secure browsers, and/or log in students. Estimates also vary by student, as the number of items will differ on the CAT and PT portions of each student's test. It is highly encouraged to have planned breaks built into the testing schedule, but these timing estimates do not include breaks. TAs should work with school coordinators to determine precise testing schedules. It is also advised to minimize the amount of time between beginning and completing each test within a content area. This concludes examples of desk site monitoring part 1. After Part 2, you'll have an opportunity to take a moment to complete these H5P questions.